I was given an assignment to look into all 5 of renewable resources: solar, wind, biomass, geothermal, and hydropower, to find out which would be the best one for Holyoke. So I'm going to be doing the weather research for Holyoke. I'm going to be doing the average temperature, wind speed, sun exposure, and annual participation. Rain. Annual rain. Now, first one I'm going to be doing is the average temperature. The average temperature for Holyoke around this time of year, December, is just about 31 degrees. And for summer, let's go July. It's about 95, or no, actually, no. It's about 68 degrees, average. So for the wind speeds, down right here, the average wind speed for Holyoke around this time of year, and most times around the year, is about 5.5 miles per hour. That's not constant though, that's on and off. For the sun exposure, longest day of the year is going to be June 21st, which is just about 15 hours and 16 minutes long. And opposite of that, the shortest day of the year is December 21st, which is about 9 hours and 6 minutes long, which is going to be in a couple days. Now, for the annual rain. So for this time of year, December, the annual rain is around 4 inches, and in summertime, July, it's going to be around 5 inches. Geographically speaking, Holyoke has a total area of 22.8 square miles, which of 21.3 square miles is land and 1.5 square miles is water. Holyoke is bordered by Southampton and Westfield to the west, East Hampton to the north, Hadley, South Hadley, and Chicopee as the borders to the east, and West Springfield to the south. Holyoke is the location of the East Mountain, the Mount Tom Range, and Mount Tom. Mount Tom is characterized by its high cliffs, sweeping vistas, and microclimated ecosystems. Okay, so 2 of the most well-known and talked about renewable resources is wind and solar. And they're a good idea in theory, how solar can just collect the energy from the sun. The sun's free. No one owns the sun. And wind, well, wind, it's free as well. So collecting it, is a really good idea, but it doesn't quite work out. Because if it's such a good idea, why does only less than 2% of the world, 2% of the energy used in the world is renewable resources? So, collecting it seems like a good idea because the sun and wind is free. But turning the sun and wind into energy that's usable for everyday people is not free. Solar and wind they cost much more money than fossil fuels like natural gas, nuclear, oil, and coal. So 2 words kind of describe wind and solar: weak and unreliable, or instead of weak, dilute, and unreliable to intermittent. It takes a lot, as I said, to harness this energy. So there's 2 problems: the diluteness problem and the intermittency problem. First, let's tackle the diluteness problem. So wind and solar, they don't deliver concentrated energy. Whereas if you burn oil or coal or any other resource, it's kind of instant. You know, you get the heat immediately, and you can turn it into energy. But solar, it doesn't quite work out that way. To make solar panels themselves, you need highly purified silicon, you need phosphorus, boron, and titanium dioxide, which is, they're very expensive materials. And they need to be mined, refined, in order to make solar panels. And it takes a lot of energy to do that. And same thing for the wind. You need high performance compounds for the turbines to turn, be able to be so big, but also turn with very little wind. You need rare earth metals, neodymium, which they use for very lightweight, powerful magnets inside of the turbine to help it spin. Now, the big problem is the intermittency problem. The sun does not always shine, and wind does not always blow. And there's no real way to store mass quantities of this energy. It's there's no way to have it, you have to have it on demand. But if the sun's not always shining, because, you know, there's nighttime, or the wind's not always blowing, you can only have, you know, energy a certain time of day, or whenever the wind's blowing. But there's no way to store it, because they don't have batteries that big to store days and days or weeks worth of energy that you store up. Unlike oil or coal, how you can store oil in giant oil tanks, or store coal and, you know, wherever they store coal. And there's no wind or solar power plant that's just wind and solar. They need a backup. And the backup, they use fossil fuels. Where when the sun's not shining and the wind's not blowing, they have to use coal or iron. Coal or, you know, any other fossil fuels. So Germany, they're the world's leader in the most renewable resources. But when the wind stops and the sun, like, during the winter in Germany is really bad. And there's not a lot of sun during the winter. And that's when Germany needs a lot of their power, is in the winter. Because people need to heat their homes to stay, you know, ahead. But, so what Germany's fallback plan is coal, because they have an abundance of coal in that country. So Germany has spent tens of billions of dollars on wind and solar. And in theory, that should, you know, cut down on your fossil fuel use, but it doesn't. They've actually used more fossil fuels to keep that going, and it costs, you know, more fossil fuels to keep the energy flowing, and more fossil fuels to build and produce all of these, you know, tens of billions of dollars worth of these renewable resources. And less than 10% of the power produced by Germany is actually renewable resources. So there's a term that's being widely used in Germany now called energy poverty, where people cannot even afford to pay their own energy bill anymore. You know, medium people, you know, not rich and not poor. But because of these high prices, they cannot pay them. So because they spent so much money on all of these resources. So in turn, solar and wind is not a very viable option for Holyoke or really anyone at this time. Maybe in 20 years from now, they'll find a way to make it cheaper to produce and make it more efficient. But until then, solar is not really, and wind is not really a viable option. But I guess we have some time. We do have a lot of natural resources, you know, oil, fossil fuels, nuclear, that's a very good option. natural gas is the best option for fossil fuels. This fire going on behind me is a natural gas running underneath the streets. So, in turn from what I just said before, so wind and solar is not a very viable option, and geothermal, it would just be too expensive. I know in this project money is not a factor, but I would like to think that it's just way too expensive, and it wouldn't be good for Holyoke. And the other one, just no, not the other one. But hydropower. Hydropower is good because we have the Connecticut River right next to our town, and we already have a dam. It works, but so there are two main turbines that the water flow through to produce power at the dam. They call them, one is Hadley 1, is what they call it. That was constructed in 1951. And then there's Hadley 2, which was constructed in 1983. So the one in 1983 is relatively new. I'm not sure of the technology on the ones that are currently in there, but that's 60 years ago from 1950, give or take, and then 40 years ago from 1980. But so we could probably upgrade that. And the Holyoke Dam is very it's efficient. When there was a major power outage many years ago, my grandmother was telling me, Holyoke was the only one that had power because they got power from the dam. And there are a couple factors on why, dams, people want to take down dams, eco-activists want to take down dams because they hurt the ecosystem. Well, they kind of do. But the Holyoke Dam has been there forever, so taking it down may hurt the ecosystem even more. But the Holyoke Dam has the fish lift, which I believe is on Hadley side. But, no, actually no, it's not on Hadley side, it's on Holyoke side. But, so it's got, it lifts the fish and helps them, the salmon, they go upriver. Well, probably other species of fish do also, but they go upriver. And they go to the fish lift, and there's a thing, low on water, fills up with water, fish go through. You can take it to there, it's really cool. See all the eels, stupid eels, smashing into the glass. But, so, you can go there, and they go through, and they count them, and see if there's less fish, more fish, whatever. But it's a very good option for Holyoke. And money is not a factor, but money-wise, it is also a good option because, what are you going to spend? Tens of millions of dollars in solar? Or, not tens of millions, tens of millions of dollars on solar and wind? Or why not just upgrade something that we already have that's been working well for many years? And, yeah, so that's my project, thingamajigger, is I came to the conclusion that the dam and hydropower is the best solution for Holyoke to upgrade, or pretty sure, I don't know if we would build another one, but just to upgrade what we have now, it would be money effective. It could maybe possibly produce more power with new water turbines producing power, and you're always gonna have a constant source because the river is always flowing. They may shut it down at some points, but it's always flowing. So you're not gonna have the problem with the sun or the wind where it's only light. This time of year it's only light 9 hours a day. And the wind, sometimes you don't feel wind at all, so those turbines aren't going to spin. So, yeah, in conclusion, hydropower is the best solution for Holyoke's power needs.